Yeah, it's too much fun. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Wingate Solutions. I hope you're doing well. Out in the woods today, so I figured I'd bring you guys a training video. I'm trying to get a little more content out there regularly for you guys, try to put aside the time to bring it to you guys more consistently. So today we're going to talk about my Ruger Mark IV. So if any of you guys are into 22s, you know how much fun they are and how much of a training value they are on a budget, especially because you can go out and plink with a box of 22s for next to nothing comparably to shooting like a 9mm, and still get a lot of training value out of it, and they're just fun. Especially if you take something like this, like a Ruger Mark IV. They're just awesome little handguns. Throw a suppressor on it or not, they're still a blast even without a can, but suppressors make everything more fun, let's be honest, especially on a 22, because it makes it BB gun quiet. It's pretty cool. If you throw a red dot on top, to me, this is the perfect handgun to teach someone new how to shoot and to get them enjoying the process. I was never a fan of people that want to throw like a 44 mag into a 12-year-old's hands and laugh at them when they, don't enjoy the recoil of that sort of thing. That's not cool. Don't be that guy. If you're trying to get people into shooting guns and want to do it for fun, recreational, or just build their mindset into being a 2A type of mindset person, get a 22. They're awesome. It's easily one of the most fun guns I have. And most people that pick this up, doesn't matter if you've been shooting for 30 years, you're going to have a good time plinking with something like this. And you get everything out of this as far as training wise, other than maybe recoil management, because there's almost none with a 22. But that makes it fun, especially for newer shooters, especially younger shooters. If you're trying to get somebody into this and they've already established the mindset of being safe with firearms, like maybe like a 10-22, a long gun is something I start on. And then this is something when I want to bridge that gap into them shooting handguns. These Rugers are awesome. Now, I know YouTube frowns upon us taking apart disassembling guns on camera, so I'm not going to do that. But the cool thing about these Ruger Mark IVs, they're one button takedown as far as taking this thing apart for cleaning, because they do get filthy. They're 22s. So these are awesome. The Mark 1 through 3s were a pain, a million parts to take apart, and you practically needed to have a degree to put them back together. But the Ruger Mark IVs are such a blast, and they're so easy to take apart. So anyway, if you're looking to get a 22, highly recommend something of this flavor. It doesn't have to be the Lite model. It could be any of the different models they make. These are just a lot of fun. So we'll get to shooting it a little bit. And anyway, appreciate you guys. All right, guys. Maybe this is an okay camera angle. I'm on a hill, so it's a little awkward. But I got some steel hung up on the hill from like 12 yards out to like 40 right there up on the hill. So we're just going to do a little plinking, kind of talk as I go. The only downside to these is they're only 10 rounds. That's what sucks. Like, I really wish these mags held a little more, but that's just kind of the nature of it, how they're designed. So they're single stack 10-round mags. So if you get one of these, you're going to want to get a few extra mags just so you're not constantly filling them. But anyway, let's do some plinking. All right, I'm going to send a round or two just up into the berm, just so you guys have an idea of what it sounds like, just because the steel kind of takes away from how quiet these are a little bit. Now, this is still just higher velocity 22 ammo. So it's probably about the loudest it'll be through this can, but so it gives you an idea. It actually is way quieter with a quiet ammo, but then it's more likely to not cycle the action too, so that's the thing. So let's just see what it sounds like just shooting up into the dirt. It's kind of like a thump. It can be quieter if you're using like actual standard velocity, but again, it may or may not cycle consistently for you. So that's just into the dirt, and then like 40 yards on steel. So it's pretty fun. So it's a lot less intimidating for like a new shooter. Like maybe your wife or your girlfriend hasn't been into guns, and you're trying to get them to be a little more positive about coming to the range with you, this is the sort of thing you might want to consider getting. Again, even without the can, because it's still not intimidating to shoot, but it's a good way to get somebody into it. So just words of advice there. Now, reloads are a little awkward with it just because of how skinny the mags are. So you still get training value out of doing it, but it's not going to be a direct correlation to you shooting like your Glock or anything, but it still is fun. And obviously the ergos controls are a little bit different. You're also working with this manual safety too, which is actually pretty ergonomic on these handguns, even though I'm not a big fan of safeties on handguns. That's all right. A little malfunction, nice double feed there. It's 22, it happens. Nice thing too is all this planking is like a fraction of the price of shooting 9mm. Yeah, it's too much fun. All right, guys, I'll do a little more planking in a second. So I want to give you a little bit closer angle of what that Macs Precision mount looks like. So it's not quite low enough to co-witness through the irons. Not a big deal. It would have been cool if it was. But the factory pick rail probably will work for most guys. Just slapping a pick base on like an RMR or like a cheap red dot, because you don't really need to spend a crazy amount of money on a red dot for a 22 unless you like are going to rely on it for hunting, that sort of thing. This Holosun was something I already had, so I threw it on here, but I'd probably go with something like way cheaper if I was just trying to build out a budget 22 to take to the range for teaching people how to shoot on. So that's up to you guys. Yeah, these things are awesome. If I really wanted to get lost in the weeds on this, I'd upgrade the trigger. It is perfectly fine for this, for just plinking. If I wanted to use this as like a actual like competition 22 or something, I'd probably swap the trigger out for something a little different though, or do a little adjust. It's a little mushy. Reset's not really that crisp. You can still run it quick. It's just, it'd be nice if it was a little bit better, but you know, then you're spending a ton more money on a little 22 pistol. So take it for what it is. And you can still run it pretty quick. I mean, it's 22, there's no recoil. So as fast as you can manipulate that trigger, you're still good. And I'm out. Yeah, I don't know if I'm getting in the way of the slide release or this thing just doesn't like to lock back on this ammo. I don't know. It is what it is. Doesn't really matter because it's just a training tool. It's just for fun, really. I mean, it's okay to shoot and just have a good time too, guys. You don't have to be serious about everything. Everything doesn't have to be like concealed carry, end of the world, duty, defensive shooting. It can be fun. And you're still training, getting reps. It does not like to hit that hostage swinger. It's rated for 9mm and actually 223, so it hits it, you know it, but it does not spin it. But that's all right. It's still fun to shoot. All right, guys, real quick, holsters for these. There's not a lot of holster companies out there making these. You can do a little research online, or if you find a local holster guy that'll take your firearm and make a custom holster for you, that's probably the way to go. One of the options out there is Tactical Solutions. I like these. They're only like 40-something bucks. The only problem is they have a proprietary belt mount, which not a big deal. But if you want to actually run this off one of your belts and you're used to using like the Safariland platform, you can make an adapter. That's what I did. That's going to be hard to show. Basically, I just took a piece of Kydex and made an adapter plate that matched up with the QLS and then also with their holster platform. And it works. So you might have to just kind of figure that out if you want to go that route, or get a Kydex holster made, something like that. But it is fun running from the holster on these, especially with this giant suppressor coming off the front of it. Makes it a little bit challenging. But that way you can still get some draw practice as well, even though it's not at all the same as defeating like a retention style holster. But it's fun. And I had to do some modification since I have this RMR aftermarket plate and also run the suppressor. I had to Dremel out the holster pretty good to make it fit perfectly for mine. But if you have just like a stock, just the pick rail on top or just the iron sights, or you're not running a can, or certain cans might work fine with it from the factory, but I had to do some modification just so you guys know. Anyway, I'll do a couple build drills just to kind of see where I'm at. I'm going to use my timer just for my stimulus of when to start, but it's not going to pick up any rounds because it's too quiet. So I just won't have a time, but that's not a big deal. Still training value out of it. All right, let's try it out. 25-yard bill drill, 6 rounds on steel C-zone, so pretty good sized piece of steel. And malfunction, nice. Another malfunction. And that's just the nature of 22s. You are going to have malfunctions, just they get finicky. The ammo isn't quite as reliable at times. Plus, if you run them all the time, they get a little filthy. But it's no big deal. Now, clearing them is not quite the same as like on a Glock or something. Like 22s are kind of their own animal. So if you're trying to get the training value of clearing malfunctions out of like a 22, it's kind of there. You still work through a process on how to do it, but it's not a one-to-one, if that makes sense. So take that for what it is. All right, let's try it again. And I jacked that all up. Cool. All right, I got a couple more rounds, so I'm going to do a couple rounds out of the holster on a few of these guys just for fun. So I appreciate you guys sticking with it. I know it's kind of a random video, but these things are just too much fun, so I figured I'd share it with you guys. I'll put it on the timer again. Just it's not going to pick anything up as far as my times, but it's still fun to work off a stimulus. And that's the whole point of the timer, right? And that's all, folks. All right, guys, to conclude, again, I appreciate you watching. I know it's kind of just like a random video on 22 pistols, but they are an awesome tool, not to be too redundant. Again, so much fun. If you want to just change up your training a little bit, get something fun, get some of your friends involved or your wife, girlfriend, that sort of thing, I highly recommend grabbing a 22 because they're cheap, fun to shoot, and it will become one of your favorite plinking guns for sure. Anyway, appreciate you watching. If you like this content, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and throw me a comment down below. Let me know what you want to see from me next time, what you like, what you don't like. It all helps, and I appreciate your feedback, and I really enjoy reading them. If you want to support us in any other way, you head over to the website. That is wingatesolutionsllc.com. We have custom-made rifle slings, sling retention straps, a couple other things I'm working on getting out there. I know I'm dragging my feet on a few things, but soon there'll be some new products up there. I appreciate you guys. If you want to check out our Instagram, at Wingate Solutions, that's where I'll drop like new colorways that are in stock or some new up-to-date products that we're coming out with. So if you go over there and follow us there, that'd be awesome. I appreciate it. But yeah, until next time, guys, get out and train.